Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. Everything seems to be remaining fairly consistent in the crypto space today. We got Bitcoin trading around 10,000, Ethereum 187 approximately, and XRP 26.5 cents. The market cap still at about 261.1 billion, and Bitcoin dominance at 68.7%. You can see this on the charts here. This is Bitcoin on the 4-hour, and guys, I wanted to show you this. This is the level. Let me just put a line here to show you guys a horizontal line. This essentially is the lowest we saw Bitcoin dip in recent months. So this July 17th, okay, we saw it dip to about 9,051. It has bounced off that support here. We saw it hitting that support roughly around the same amount, trying to make newer highs. But guys, this is the zone here. So, and as you guys can see, this level here represents roughly 8,800. So I'm going to bring that line down a bit and then show you what the upper echelon is. This is 8,800 to 9,500. This is the absolute lowest Bitcoin should go in order to maintain our bull run. So if we go any lower than this, unfortunately, it could be that Bitcoin is maybe having a bit of a bearish moment. So far, though, I haven't seen this. We've hit this zone twice. Well, actually 3 times. We hit it right around here, just touched it barely before bouncing back up again. Ultimately, we need to break this. We need to break 12,003. And then, of course, get into this zone. But more importantly, breaking this intra-year high here, 13,900, approximately 13,800. And XRP, this is Bitcoin on the 4-hour. Let's look at XRP on the 4-hour. Came out of this level here. So I had drawn the similar kind of zone here from back in September 2018, August 2018. We have retraced into these lowest levels of recent memory. Okay, the 24 roughly to 26 cent range. We did bounce out of that and then came back in. If ever there was a time in XRP's recent history to double your money, this is the time, guys. Because the ecosystem is still building. RippleNet-Xendpay teams up to open up new corridors, and so this has to do with the fact that they are now teaming up with Xendpay. Crypto Wolf sent me a tweet with regards to this as well, linking to Ripple's own webpage and their statement on the matter. Ripple supports Xendpay in opening new remittance market to stay ahead of the competition. And what they are essentially doing is they're opening up new corridors, including Bangladesh, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia, and enabling real-time payment rails to Thailand. Interesting business model when I read this here, that the transfer fees will be optional. So you have a couple of choices if you want to pay fees. I think it's if you pay fees, you can pay fees per transfer, or you can pay like a one-time amount per year. But then down here, they're saying, I think of our fees as similar to providing a tip. So indeed, you can pay no fees, or you can suggest to pay fees. I guess the point is, since RippleNet is so affordable, I mean, fractions of pennies to send money worldwide, they really don't even need to charge fees. So people paying a fee are essentially just giving a donation to the cause. And some people will pay fees and some people won't pay fees. But in countries like this, they talk about the fact that every cent counts. And so optional fees, that is obviously going to make the competition crumble to their knees. So yeah, this isn't a subscription fee base. It's actually optional fees. Can you imagine going into somewhere and them saying, well, here's our business. You can pay us if you want. If you don't want, that's okay too. Do you still want to use the service? A lot of people will take advantage of that. Some people obviously because they're greedy or cheap. Other people because they just don't have the money. Like they talk about here how the average fee is about 3.5 pounds GPB right here, which they say when you transfer it into Vietnamese dong, it does add up to a significant amount of money for Vietnamese people. So a lot of these people, they talk about migrant workers crossing borders to, work in other countries, send money home to their families. A lot of these guys just can't afford these fees. Great business model, especially since it is sustainable because XRP can source liquidity, can send that money cross borders in seconds, costing only pennies. Remarkable. Saw this on AMB Crypto. This is India's Colodax becomes latest exchange to list XRP, brushes off concerns over RBI restrictions. So we know there are some restrictions in India with regards to cryptocurrency, but recently they did list XRP on their exchange. So now they have 10 trading pairs with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple XRP, Stellar, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Cash, PundiX, 0x, and Tron. So big news there for traders in India, able now to pair up with XRP. Amazing. Guys, I link all these articles in the description. If you want to read them further, you can locate them in the description of every video. XRP_Canada sent this to me. That's at XRP_Canada on Twitter. Ripple's SVP of Business and Corporate Development is now an observer on the MoneyGram board of directors. So Kahina Van Dyke, now an observer. Of course, we know that Ripple and MoneyGram have partnered up and will be rivaling the competition fiercely. So apparently, when you're on the board of directors as an observer, you do not have voting rights or anything of the sort. However, the optics of this are very positive for the company Ripple. For Kahina Van Dyke personally, getting into the money transfer world, getting into this world that's been around for so long, right? MoneyGram, Western Union, all those companies have been doing this for decades now, in some cases centuries, and now we've got a Ripple employee on the board as an observer at MoneyGram International. This article came across my desk as well, Closing the Blockchain Skills Gap, and what it has to do is with blockchain development and the fact that there isn't enough skilled talent out there to develop blockchain to the point where we need it to be today. A lot of this stuff tends to take time, and over the time we educate generations of kids coming out of school, teaching them new skills, right? But it seems as though since blockchain has only been around within the last 10 years or so, we really need to ramp this up in order to get it to where it needs to be. And so Ripple, of course, part of this initiative. Guys, I will link this article in the description. It's fairly lengthy. Well, not too lengthy, but I don't want to read the whole thing, but what I do want to hit on is this. And this really just kind of struck me recently. The fact that Ripple is looking to, and part of this has to do with Ripple, right, donating tons of money to university initiatives, trying to get kids to learn about blockchain. So they're funding that because obviously it would benefit them, but it would also benefit the industry as a whole. And as we know, we need the infrastructure. But as I was saying, blockchain's only been around for 10 years, and so we just don't have that skilled talent to keep developing the blockchain industry, right? All the people that were into blockchain 10 years ago who have that talent, in my opinion, and this is kind of comical. Think about 10 years ago. If you were into blockchain 10 years ago, you were most likely into Bitcoin, more or less, because that's how blockchain started. Well, think about it. If you were into Bitcoin 10 years ago and you still had a few hundred Bitcoins sitting around, you are probably a multi-millionaire and no longer need to work. So we've got a generation of people who are into blockchain. It has only been around for 10 years. So think about it. If you were into blockchain 10 years ago, chances are you probably did own Bitcoin. Maybe you spent it all and you're broke now. But even if you had a couple hundred Bitcoins sitting around on your computer, or even, let's be honest, 100 Bitcoins sitting around on your computer, you could probably get by fairly comfortably for the rest of your life, depending on how old you are, so on and so forth. So this industry needs to be fostered with a generation that has not yet been tainted by Bitcoin riches. That's my opinion. That's my theory. And so, of course, companies like Ripple are, promoting this initiative, funding university programs in order to help the industry thrive and, get that underlying value of XRP to rise over time. I saw this from Wagner, aka Wagdog, at Buy and Sell SLL on Twitter. Just added another 7,000 XRP to his stacks. These prices are too cheap to resist. I couldn't agree more, Wagdog. At these prices, 25, 26 cents, we saw a 50 cent XRP in June. It will go to 50 cents again. I think as soon as Bitcoin breaches that $14,000 mark. So how much are you willing to risk to double your money in the short term? $100, $200, $500, maybe $1,000, $10,000, $100,000? I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.